When you save on auto insurance for driving safe with USAA Safe Pilot, you'll feel like a big deal, even in a traffic jam. Save up to 30% with USAA Safe Pilot. Restrictions apply.
The Shark Deck.
Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your Daily Comedy News. Let me tell you what's going on here. So my plan for today's podcast was during the week, I saw a list of all the new comedy specials of 2023. And I'm like, oh, that'll be fun to share with everyone. And I have just finished recording that. And it's 12 minutes of me reading a list. Now, I do want to share with you, but I'm like, I can't roadblock the first 12 minutes of the podcast with me reading a list. So what I'm going to do today is normally the podcast has 2 parts. Today it will have 3 parts. And if you want to hear me read the entire list of all the comedy specials that have come out so far this year, you can stay for the last 12 minutes. Otherwise, you are dismissed early. Totally understand if you bail on that. I will tell you when it's coming. Hannibal Buress, he's out touring as rapper Eshu Tune. Statesman.com saw his set, and they wrote, during South by Southwest 2011, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, packed a capacity crowd into a club. His rap alter ego was intense, moody, aggro-punk, and much to the annoyance of the crowd in attendance, including the writer, not at all funny. People were mad. Hannibal Buress took a completely different tack when he hit the stage. He said, this is a new feeling for me, not the rapping thing. It's just usually when I play shows in Austin, I get paid a lot of money. He then did a set that punched way above the non-existent cover charge. Backed by a full band, he made it clear he was into building the show to prove his rap skills, but still he peppered the set with jokes, and many of the songs themselves were infused with humor. High points included Veneers, a baller anthem about fixing your teeth. I've heard that one. It is rather catchy. And a random cover of Christian pop icon Michael W. Smith's Awesome God. How does he balance comedy and rap? He says, well, I'm interested in this Gambino thing. Y'all were really mad, he said with a laugh backstage before his set. Local rapper Eric Morgan said, I thought Glover was going to do stand-up and was disgusted when he started rapping. Hannibal said, I actually recorded music before I did stand-up. My career was always parallel to music. Early on, he hosted open mic nights that featured both music and comedy. He did skits on rappers' albums. He battle rapped in college. Then his comedy took off. During the pandemic, stand-up clubs were weird, and he didn't love acting enough to take a COVID test every time he stepped on set, so he went into the studio. He was inspired to make the song Veneers after seeing an ad for hair plugs. He had never had fake hair, but he had fixed a chipped tooth. An early version of the song included a dentist drill. His friends convinced him to remove that. I like making goofy, fun songs, and I also have this real stuff, too. He's decided to just do what I enjoy. That's awesome. Kathleen Madigan was on the Good One podcast this week, and they said, hey, Kathleen, you're arguably one of, if not the, most successful road comedians ever. You've built your audience on the road exclusively. Does that make you proud? And Kathleen said, I am proud of that, but it was sort of luck. One time, Louis Black was on The Big Bang Theory. He played some nutty professor and was like, will you go with me? And I said, Lou, I've been to a sitcom once. It was so boring. I don't want to go watch. I love you, but I don't want to go. And he was like, please. And I was like, fine. We left my house at 4. We got home at 11. Me and his old assistant drank a bottle of Chardonnay throughout the day. We plowed through a bottle. I had memorized the whole script, his parts, the other parts. It's so slow and tedious. I just want to tell jokes. There's not many of us where that's all we want to do. When I started comedy, as far as I knew, that's all we wanted to do. And then it started to be like, look, Ray Romano's got a sitcom and Kevin James has a sitcom. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what goes on over there? Do you really want to be that bored for hours upon hours? For what? You're not even an actor. Like, they offered me some part in some NBC thing not that long ago, within the last 5 years. And I was like, I'm not an actor. I don't want to. I kept saying no, and they kept offering me more and more money. I said, no, I'm not seeing that as a bargaining trip. I truly want nothing to do with this. I don't think the agency was saying it like that. I was like, you need to tell them I have no interest in TV or movies unless it's a friend and I get to play myself as a bartender. There are people that are qualified to act. It's insulting to call a stand-up comedian who has no experience an actor. I'm like, all I want to do is tell jokes in front of people for an hour. The show's 2 hours and I'm done. That's my work day. I do some other stuff, but I'm in charge of it all. I'm my own boss. Initially, when they told me to go audition for stuff, I'd get ticked off at the gate. I could never get on the lot. I'd be out there for 20 minutes going, my name's on a list. Trying not to get mad at the person. You have to want what's at the other end of that gate. I auditioned for some commercials. They did it like 3 times, and I was like, the money'd be great. Why not? It'll take 3 days out of your life. But the odds of you getting that commercial, is it worth a day of your life? I lived in Hermosa Beach. I could be rollerblading right now. If you told me, do you want to go fishing? Yes. Do you want to go play golf? Yes. But do I want to be on a sitcom all this week? No.
When you save on auto insurance for driving safe with USAA Safe Pilot, you'll feel like a big deal, even in a traffic jam. Save up to 30% with USAA Safe Pilot. Restrictions apply.
Chortle took a look at 48 hours in Perth's comedy scene. Steve Bennett visited Western Australia. Perth fascinates me. Perth is like as far as you can go from where I live. If you go any further, you're on your way back. You know what I mean? Perth on the west coast of Australia. The comedy scene there apparently is centered on the Comedy Lounge above a downtown restaurant with a design based on the best clubs its British owner John McAllister visited in London. Friday's show, this a couple weeks ago, was packed to the rafters. Compare Simone Springer's smiley demeanor is welcoming, yet conceals a wearier, can't-be-bothered attitude, not least to her own ADD child. Her jokes can feel a little mechanical, but she's sharper off-script, drawing the best from a risque to and fro with a couple in the front row. You can see why she's an MC. First up was a relative newcomer, Martin Darcy. His lack of experience showed in a staccato delivery and affected laugh at his own jokes in the sense that he feels a little too proud of piling pullback and reveal punchlines on top of each other, yet he's a robust gag writer, playing up his beta male status and Asian heritage. Strongest, of course, when he subverts stereotypes rather than leaning into them, which demonstrates strong potential. See, that's a really good review, right? He didn't be like, oh, the guy was great. I like that. Darcy spoke about losing his virginity late in life to a cougar, starting what came to be a recurring theme of the night about age gap relationships. Locally based Scottish comedian Gil Cordner approached the topic from the other direction, giving out strong filthy aunt vibes as she dished the dirt on having a much younger husband. Next up, looking like wild-haired trolls in Team Australian tracksuits, the Nelson twins, or as the name pretty much gives away, identical twins whose entire set is based on doing what brothers do, viciously slinging mud at each other. It's essentially a well-rehearsed roast battle. Next up, Andrew Wolf has an appropriate surname, given his unhinged howling at the moon delivery, a manic hodgepodge of depression, anxiety, and fury that proves highly effective. There are some good gags about anti-vaxxers and people who say they've been abducted by aliens, but it's the unhinged energy you'll remember. At one point, he worries about going full Kramer. Finally, Sons of Fred, a drum-tight three-man outfit who burst onto the stage with a series of tightly choreographed alternative intros. However, they don't have the invention of the similarly high-energy Auntie Donna to back up their well-honed physicality, but the musical theater take on heavy metal is definitely a highlight. Saturday saw the Western Australia final of the Raw Comedy Competition, featuring 20 newish acts from around the state. Winner Nicole Shee mocked Chinese stereotypes and some Aussie ones without being afraid to show a little edge. English act David Hughes was another frontrunner, and if his attitude and mannerisms borrowed heavily from Ricky Gervais, his bad dad shtick was full of pointed punchlines that hit home. Meanwhile, Blake Richardson was a charismatic performer with some solid material about his Maori background, if perhaps a bit too much focus on jokes about his own appearance. Oldish hand Xavier Makalides did a broad set that ranged from admirably convoluted puns to a reminder of just how sinister the phrase "lock up your daughters" really is. Some of the material is root one. How many middle-aged male comedians, or indeed people, talk about hair growing out of everywhere but the head, but he's a skillful, likable performer who also strays down more creative routes, if never quite far enough. Sounds like a nice, vibrant scene out there in Perth. I like doing this international stuff. Speaking of which, let's see who's at the Melbourne Comedy Festival on Monday. Laura Hughes presents Laura Hughes, and some other Laura Hugheses. Laura Hughes returns to the festival after a decade in LA, honing her unique brand of comedy, and she's bringing wigs. Let's listen to a clip.
There are a few things that you can do that make you instantly cool. Number one, sunglasses at night. Because you're probably going to be partying to the break of dawn, and who knows when you might need to weld something. Number two, laziness, especially when it comes to the English language. OMG, did you just lol at me? That is totes and approach, and I'm Jen's Devo right now, TTYL. The less that people can actually understand what you're trying to say, the cooler it is.
All right, that was fun. Next up, let's see. Michael Shafar, well worth the chemo. He is a testicular cancer survivor, lawyer-turned-comedian. He has the solutions to all of the world's problems. Let's listen.
It's great to see people having some drinks. I'm not a big drinker. I find that when I don't drink, people just try to make me drink. And the worst attempt was on Tuesday. Went out for lunch, the waiter gives me the drinks menu. I'm like, oh, it's fine, I'm not drinking. And he goes, come on. Mate, buddy, it's Friday somewhere. And I go, it's Tuesday everywhere. Well, you know what I mean, it's 5 p.m. somewhere. And I go, yeah, but it's 1 p.m. here. This is the context we're in. You can't just change the context to suit yourself. You can't walk into work naked and be like, it's all right, guys. There's a shower somewhere. It's all right.
Now, I'm looking at the clip. He's got a lot of charisma there, so that probably played funnier in the room than it did on the podcast. Let's do one more. Shahram Namdarian, horny and depressed. After all his years of being a life coach and dating coach, helping people resolve anxiety issues with their love and life, he realized he was still two things, desperately horny and desperately depressed. Let's listen.
Hi, I'm Shahram Namdarian, spelt Sharamnamdarian. Hi, I'm a cold ball of spaghetti. Just joking. I'm the man your mother warned you about.
And I'm the man they named Friday after.
But who am I hear you ask? Well, I'm Sharazabam, and I was a dating coach for the last 7 years, and a bloody good one at that. Do you like comedy? Of course you do! Come see my show at the 2023 Melbourne Comedy Festival. Ha-ha!
All right, he seems pretty likable. That was fun. That's the Melbourne International Comedy Festival on Monday. By the way, you can get into his show for $7 Australian. Now, people listen every day. Now we divide that by 2/3, which means you can get in for, what, $4.50? Who's doing the math? I'm not. I have so blown out my voice because, like I said, I already did the stuff about the 150 comedy specials. So let's take one more break. If you don't want to hear me read a list for 12 minutes, you are dismissed. You know the deal. I'll be back tomorrow. If you want to go through all 150 comedy specials that have been released this year, hang around. I saw this one during the week. This is from the Comics Comic. Sean McCarthy is the writer there. He has a Substack called Piffany, and he listed all the new comedy specials of 2023 so far. You know how many there have been? Over 150. Now, I want to stop using the word special, and Sean will talk about this a second in his thing. Not everything's special. For example, I saw Monster Brane released an hour on YouTube, and I was watching it Tuesday night, and I enjoyed it. But was it a special? Is it up there with, Carlin at Carnegie Hall? No. It's a guy in a club doing a perfectly fine, entertaining, funny hour. But we got to stop using the word special. I think hour is the word we should use. And I'm trying to retrain my brain because I think we all call everything a comedy special. And we got to get away from it. Sean McCarthy writes, so 2 clarifications or declarations before you look at the list of 2023 comedy specials. First, especially with regard to YouTube citations, I must remind you how painfully easy it is for anyone, anywhere in the world to record themselves and upload it for sharing on YouTube as a, quote, full comedy special, unquote, amen. Sean writes, my including it on this list should not be construed as me legitimizing some of these people as professional stand-up comedians. Second, I must also stress there's no surefire way to account for all the new comedy specials available to stream on Earth. I may have missed one or more, so if you know of some, let them know. I share the list in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast group, if you're curious, but let's take a look at this. January, Steve Hofstadter's The Recipe. I don't remember that coming out, and I'm not going to repeat that about 100 times here. And that surprises me because Steve loves to publicize himself, big time. So how that came out without it hitting my radar, and again, I write this podcast every day. Even if I don't record every day, I do write every day. I don't know how I even missed that. Moving on. Nick Whitmer's Always Hungry, YouTube. Mike Bridenstine's Live from the Glendale Room, YouTube. Tony Law's Go Mr. Tony Go via Comedy Dynamics and Amazon. Now that's a major label. I don't remember that. Andrew Santino Cheeseburger, yep. Adam Rose Imperious on YouTube, Alexandros Zouvalis Bad Paradise on YouTube, and then appears to be in Greek, that's special. Ron Irvin's Prodigal Son, YouTube. Andrew Myrie, Duck on a Pond, YouTube. Andy Andrus, Last Shot. 800-Pound Gorilla Media, YouTube. I think that one hit my radar. Nathan Cassidy's Observational, Amazon. Really? Brian Posehn, yep. Tim McLaughlin Goes Bananas, YouTube. Nick Naney's Nessun Dorma, YouTube. Nathan McIntosh, Money Never Wakes, YouTube. We're a 10th of the way through the list in case you just want to bail on today's episode. Matt Ruby's Substance, YouTube. Joe Hill, Somebody's Gotta Hear This, YouTube. Wait, Sean has crossed one out. Number 18 was Matt Rife OnlyFans, and it's now crossed out. All right. 19, Kabir Singh, Bollywood, YouTube. Juan Fornos, The Snow Mexican, YouTube. Brandon Krishan, Everybody's a Target, Amazon, yeah? Stand Up for Pitt's comedy special with Rebecca Corey, Amazon, yeah? Dan Nightingale Smasher, YouTube. Phil Pointer Sweat It Out, YouTube. Drew Lynch Concuss, YouTube. The Red Richardson Special, YouTube. Michelle Traina Divorce Diaries, Amazon. Asian American Eyes, an immigrant comedy special, Amazon. Nate Bargatze, Hello World, yes. Seton Smith live at MSG opening for John Mulaney on YouTube. Bruno Romano, Too Honest to Have a Job, YouTube. Troy Deshane, Got Next, YouTube. That was just January. On to February, which only has 28 days most years except every fourth year is a leap year. Unless it's a century year, not divisible by 400. So 2000 was a leap year. If you're still around, 2100, not a leap year. All right, so if you're expecting 2100 to be a leap year, it's not. 28 days in February, most years. Sean Hamrin, Smallface, YouTube. Faris Haitia, Send Help, YouTube. Isn't this insane? Brandon Bricks, live at the Comedy Store, YouTube. Daniel Fernandez, Alive and Vaccinated, YouTube. Mufti, Good Cop, Bad Cop, Nigeria, YouTube. Kechi Chibuzi, Kindergarten Teacher Energy, YouTube. Rodney Norman, Stand Up for 22, YouTube. BT Just Try, YouTube. TT Ledette, YouTube. Silas Abolics, They Said There Would Be Jobs, YouTube. Ben Rosenfield, Don't Shake Your Miracle, Amazon. Anubhav Singh Basi, Amazon. Dr. Jason Long, Ride with Caution, Netflix. I actually watched that. Marcela Arguello, Bitch Grow Up, HBO Max. That happened? Mark Maron, HBO. Sarah Tiana, 44, Moment. AJ Grill, I'll Quit When I'm 30, YouTube. Tony Lyle, live in Auckland, YouTube. Chase O'Donnell, YouTube. Ava Carroll, Late Bloomer, YouTube. Tez Ilias Vikid, YouTube. Ben Zanayo, Mr. Ben, Indonesia, YouTube. Henry Welsh on Book from A to A, Amazon. Jim Jeffries, High and Dry, that's on my top 10 list. Netflix. Roseanne Barr, Cancel This, Fox Nation. Josh Johnson, Up Here, Killing Myself, Peacock. Matt Rife, Matthew and Stephen Wright, Moment. Alan Sidney, Dead Day Issues, YouTube. Natalie Cuomo's Shut Up, You Loved It, YouTube. I didn't know that one came out. I want to check that one out. Kate Quigley, Magic, YouTube. Ani Malik, General Blessings, YouTube. Chris Shilting, The Son of Tom and Jerry, GERI, YouTube. Ronnie Myers, You Funny, Yeah, YouTube. Rodney Norman, Stand Up for 22, YouTube. Trey Knowles, Alien Invasion, YouTube. Wayne Beese, Record of Underachievement, YouTube. Lucas Waterfield, Public Inconvenience, Amazon. Joe Lysette, More, Amazon. Some More, Queen Chandelier, Netflix. Wynderson Nunes, Preaching to the Choir in Brazil, Netflix. Kathleen Madigan's Hunting Bigfoot, Amazon. Lavelle Crawford, Showtime. Stuart Goldsmith, I Need You Alive, Moment. Marcus D. Wiley, Grown Grey Forgiven on YouTube. John Agasild, Welcome Back, Scotland, YouTube. Brad Wenzel, Joke, YouTube. Japheth, The Stupid Experience, Rwanda, YouTube. Charlie Berens, Midwest Goodbye, YouTube. John Franklin, The Specialist, YouTube. Drew Lyncher, These Jokes, YouTube. Nate Jackson, Live Crowdwork Special, YouTube. Akshay Srivastava, Mental Health, YouTube. Adam Rowe, Juicy, YouTube. Abhishek Upmayu, Health Anxiety, YouTube. Paul Zerdin, Hands Free, YouTube. Trey Knowles, Infinite American Tales, YouTube. Vinny Brand, RIP Fat Bobby, YouTube. Sarah Milliken, Self-Released. Nick Youssef, Take Care, YouTube. Whew. Through February, one more month. Yeeks. Marlon Wayans, God Loves Me, HBO Max. A Whole Lifetime with Jamie Demetriou, Netflix. Chris Rock, did you hear about that one? Netflix. Akash Mehta, No Smoking, India, YouTube. Masood Akbarzada, Fame, German Iranian, YouTube. John McCombs, Make Way to Estonia, YouTube. Graham Elwood, Manifest It, YouTube. Russell Kziz, The Big Cheese, YouTube. Jacob Hatton, Relax, England, YouTube. Nate Armbuster, Sorry to Bother You, YouTube. Gaurav Kapoor, I'm probably butchering this title. Mumbai Sai Aya Mera Dost, India, YouTube. Stevie Brown, My Friends Call Me Beetle, YouTube. Paul Moan, Elected, Northern Ireland, YouTube. Dave Lester, How Did That Make You Feel, Amazon. Joe Pontilla, No One Asked for This, YouTube. Josh Means Business, YouTube. Urzilla Carlson, Token African, YouTube. Kelsey Cook, The Hustler, YouTube. Nidish Sakahua, Person, YouTube. Andrew Ballesteri, Live from the Greatest City on Earth, YouTube. Brian Scalero, Never Not Crapping, clean that up, YouTube. Terrible title, Brian. Don't do that. That is not going to help you with a title like that. That's Brian. Bad title. Not a good idea. Jenny Zagrino, Gen Z, YouTube. Jocelyn Sharp, 510280, Amazon. Bert Kreischer's Razzle Dazzle, Netflix. Foil, Arms and Hog Swines from Ireland, Moment. Justin Martindale, Gay Bash, Moment. Mona, Unsubstantiated, YouTube. Jamar Malachi, Neighbors. Rotten Luther King Jr., YouTube. Soren Paraclab, with a Romanian title, out of YouTube. Osha Dwyer, Knockout, YouTube. G. McBride, Daddy's Girl, that's on my list, YouTube. Very good special, watch that. Kai Apocalypse Now, YouTube. Andre Farrell's Rude Awakening, Amazon. Stand Up for California, Amazon. Russell Brand, Brandemic, Locals Only. Lee Kyle's Disco Twix, England, YouTube. Jeremiah Watkins, Daddy, YouTube. Blink Mike, a Greek title on YouTube. John Grimes, Going for Broke, YouTube. Michael Shafar, all right, next joke, YouTube. Mike Vecchi owns The Attractives, YouTube. Angelo Gingerelli, stuck in the middle, YouTube. Doogie Horner's Dad Max on YouTube. Dave Hughes Ridiculous on Amazon. Brent Terhune's What on Flat Earth on Amazon. Will Red Comedy on Amazon. Mae Martin on Netflix. Mort Burke Spiritually Filthy on YouTube. Dustin Nickerson runs on the Family YouTube. Gareth Wah Doozy on YouTube. Anthony Rogers Sunburnt in Hawaii YouTube. Zach Hammond's Welfare in Disguise YouTube. Kyle Kinane Shocks and Struts, the current #1 special of the year on YouTube. Nathan Catone, Let's Talk About Vex YouTube. Ryan Churchill, Alpalco Churchy, YouTube. Maz Jabrani, The Birds and the Bees, YouTube. Andy Parsons, Live and Unleashed, but Naturally Cautious, Amazon. Jeff Leeson, Grandma Used to Heckle Me, Amazon. Ben Rosenfield, Geopolitical Dick Jokes, Amazon. And just this week, Big J. Okerson's, whatever it's called, that also came out. So, again, thank you, Piffany.substack.com for this list. Great job, Sean McCarthy, who says 31 for January, 59 for February, 59 for March. A first quarter total of 149 plus the Big J makes 150. I just blew out my voice. Jeez. That's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. See you tomorrow.
Hello, I am Mark Francis, host of a daily podcast about the British royal family called Palace Intrigue. Did you see what Meghan Markle did in her latest documentary? Or what Prince Harry said in his new book? Well, the kings and queens and princes and princesses are ready to explode. Andrew is ready to implode. Royal sources are jumping at the bit. The in-laws just can't stop. The UK tabloids are about to burst. Americans can't get enough. The kids can't get any cuter. The press can't get any uglier. And Wills and Kate? Well, they're just wonderful. Get your daily dose of gossip and news from the world's most royal family. Follow Palace Intrigue on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your shows.